Welcome to Creator to Leader. Are you struggling to connect with your ideal customers online? Are you confused about the most effective way to market your business? If you're ready to become the go-to expert in your industry and stand out from the crowd, this podcast is for you. Hey, I'm Eugenia. That's Eugenia in Spanish, but you can call me E. My mission is to help entrepreneurs stand out online so that they can grow their businesses. I do this through comprehensive marketing strategies, impactful content plans, and storytelling leadership. We both know you are running on caffeine and big dreams, so let's dive right in. I just had a conversation with a very good friend of mine. She just gave birth a couple of months ago, so we haven't really talked a lot. And so we were on FaceTime and she was like, "So what's up? What's new?" So I was updating her with everything. And when it reached the point of my professional life, I had to pause for a moment and say, I think this is the most fulfilling season of my professional life, at least in the recent years, in recent memory. And it was such a beautiful realization for me because for a very long time, I had this feeling of like, not everything is clicking. Either I'm doing work that I love, but I just cannot find enough clients, or I'm having issue with the clients, or I feel like I'm undercharging, or when I went back to corporate, I just had this feeling of failure because I had to go back to corporate and it wasn't aligned with my vision and I did not feel appreciated. So there was always something missing, right? So last year, I did a lot of work, internal work, and understanding just like my values and my vision with my personal brand, with my business, where I wanted to go. And a lot of things happened, including moving back to Miami. So definitely it was a year of transitions. But this year, I feel like things have just moved and happened once I had that clarity. And I have dream clients with work I love, and I'm able to now think what's next, not from a place of this is not enough, or I'm not happy, or I made a mistake, but from a place of this is amazing. Like, I wonder what's out there, right? It's from a place of curiosity. It's from a place of wondering. Having this podcast last year launched and ranking with this podcast and just like proving to myself that my methodology and my frameworks worked gave me so much confidence to really put them into practice with my clients now, and then seeing them see results, and it's this ripple effect. So now thinking about what's next, how am I expanding, or like let me adjust some things. It's been beautiful. It's been a great way of really growing from a from a good place, not from a place of desperation or I need to run away or I need to figure something out, or more from a place of I love this. What's the next stage? Not from a place of I need to shift, but from a place of we're always growing, we're always expanding. We have so much life ahead of us. So thinking that a goal is over or a dream is over once you reach a certain goal, that's missing out on so many opportunities. So that's kind of my mindset right now. And I've been thinking a lot about it, especially because I was trying to identify what was exactly the thing that led me to this point. And I couldn't tell you, like, I cannot take credit for everything because I worked with an incredible Gallup Strength Finder coach. She's just incredible. She really helped me understand my strengths. First of all, my faith, working on my belief. I already had developed my knowledge, my theology, and you know, really being solid in my faith. But now it was more about like, how do I walk in this journey with God? And do I feel comfortable talking about God on my podcast? And now I landed in the place of this is my truth, my business, my podcast, everything is filled by God and fueled by God. So even though you can be, believe your personal beliefs, this is what fuels everything I do. So I want to say, like, going so deep into my faith and working with that mentor. I worked with Leonardo Garcia. I've talked about him. He's a fantastic marketing expert from Latin America. I cannot recommend him enough. I worked Judy Weber. She's my coach, and she's the first Christian business coach I've ever had, and it was incredible. The Brand Hub, that's a program that I joined to develop the first beta version of my offer. There was a lot of people or programs and opportunities for me to develop professionally and reach this point where I'm at right now. But what everything did, all these tools, as I put together the puzzle pieces and they start coming together, I realized that what I did overall, the overarching theme was develop my brand's foundation, my platform. What do I stand for? Is it perfectly communicated? That's an area that I definitely want to work on more, the exact words, like my messaging. I feel like it's clear, but I feel like the wording could be improved. So that's something that I'm excited about, like using words and simplifying the communication of the messaging. So that's something exciting. And I think that whether you want to launch a book or explore a partnership, or maybe you want to have a nonprofit, having this foundation feels like the best thing you can do for your stability in the future. Because now I have different clients, a couple of different services. I have this podcast, I have my social media, and everything to me feels real to who I am. So having that foundation was the thing that I worked on for the past year that allowed me to be where I'm at right now. And this foundation is really identifying what is the story that you are telling. And that's what I want to walk you through today, so you can start journaling or thinking about these ideas of what is your platform? What is your foundation? Because when you build your personal brand, you don't design it and say, what can my personal brand be? Your personal brand already is. You are your brand. What we do is we pull the pieces that are interesting. We connect the dots. You work on your logo if you want to, your content, like all of these things are showcasing your personal brand. But it's there. It's there. It already exists. So how do we create a framework to tell that story in a way that most importantly makes sense to you? Something that you can put on a vision board, something that you can look at while not everything is clear. Because as I said, that's definitely an area that I want to work on, like my copy. I want to polish my offers a little bit more. I've identified so many great opportunities. This podcast, I have so many great ideas for the podcast. So there are dreams that I have, there are projects that I have, but I do have this foundation clear. I do have this big vision of, as I light up my stage, my light is going to light up the stage for other people, and it's going to be a ripple effect. When you light up your stage and you shine, your light is going to illuminate other people around you. And I love this metaphor of the stage because I come from the acting world and theater. So to me, the stage is the place where you are allowed to shine at your best. So it could be a literal stage, or it could be your computer. It could be your keyboard. It could be your microphone. When you allow yourself to shine, which is what we do when we excavate your personal brand and we build this foundation, like when you have this stability, you have this stage, you are able to shine brighter. And in turn, you're going to build inspiration and you're going to build light for other people. So that's the vision that I have. And that vision fuels everything I do, all of my projects. And that vision is anchored also on my own stories. I was going to originally do this episode and talk about Taylor Swift. She just released her album, and I was going to do a whole episode on how she does this. And thankfully I got sick, so I couldn't record it. But now I'm just realizing that maybe it was not the best example, because you don't need to think of yourself like a show person to have your stage. Also, I'm not a super fan of Taylor Swift's, and I have no feelings, negative or positive, towards her as a person. I really just admire what she's done as a personal brand. And what I was gonna say about her, that I'm just gonna tell you, it really is the story of you, is building a platform, a story that connects all of your little stories. Imagine a Marvel movie. You have the main Marvel movie, let's say Iron Man. And around Iron Man, you have Lego toys, you have theme parks, you have other types of experiences, you have podcasts. Everything is connected to this main platform, this main center of your ecosystem. So Taylor Swift's case, that was the whole point of that episode, is her story that she tells is the story of her heart and the story of her conception of love and trust and these deep, hard issues. She's not there to give you advice. She's not there to be your therapist. She's there to just make music that feels relatable at your worst or at your best, I would say, maybe. Maybe. That's her poetry. So coming back to this idea of your stage, whatever your stage is, if you start seeing yourself as this artist on your stage, then you start seeing all the pieces of your work as collections. Collections that at the end of the day tell a story. So Taylor Swift, she has her albums, and her albums tell a big picture story, even though each album has its own collection. For me, for example, I have my podcast. That is a collection. My podcast, this podcast, that's my baby. That's the more vulnerable place I have. And I also have my newsletter, right? In my newsletter, I'm more educational. I share more little tips and hacks. I am very personable on my Instagram, and I'm very creative there. But everything else is built on my foundation. So when you start seeing your brand that way, you've identified that you don't have to decide what your personal brand will be. You already are a personal brand. You want to have a brand that is able to move with you. You want to have all these collections. You want to have a book. You want to be a keynote speaker. You want to have products. And maybe you keep hearing you have to choose, which sure, you have to focus. I think focus is very important. I'm not the best at that, but focus is very important, and having a goal and working towards a goal, sure. But you can have these collections. The collection of your podcast, the collection of your book. But what is the main story? This big story that you want to tell is usually connected back to your story. A good story, if you think about it, has an external transformation, an external theme, and an internal theme. Because in this world, everything we're doing is going to be a journey of personal development as well. Everything we do professionally, if you work at a company, if you are an entrepreneur, if you're a stay-at-home mom, everything you do with your days is building who you are as a person. Which is why I personally could never understand the whole, forget about what you do in your 9 to 5 and then just start living after 5. Like, I could never, right? Because my life was happening mostly at those hours during the day. So they had to matter to me. They had to have meaning to me. So the external is, if you watch a movie, is the tangible thing that you are going after. So for example, Hercules is a Disney movie, my brother's favorite Disney movie growing up. And he is, the Disney movie, he is a guy that used to be a god, the son of a god of Zeus. I'm sorry, Mike Anthony says my English is not very good looking. My accent is not very good looking. The son of the god Zeus, whatever you pronounce it, he is left in the world, the human world, and growing up, he never fits in because, of course, he's a god, so he doesn't fit in with the humans. And then he finds out that that's his dad. And he's like, hey, dad, like, how can I come back to you? If this happened, how can I come back to you? And the dad's like, okay, you have to become a real hero. So become a real hero, you'll be back to being a god. So he goes on this journey to become a real hero. He finds a trainer and he actually becomes super famous, well respected, all the accolades. And then he's like, yo, dad, I became a real hero. I'm still here. Like, what's happening? And the dad's like, wait and see. You still haven't passed the test. So poor Hercules doesn't know what's happening. And in the end, spoiler alert, he has to sacrifice his life to save the woman that he loves. So he sacrifices his life for love. And by doing that act, he becomes a hero. So really, you become a hero by doing the sacrifice. So going back to the story, what he thought, like he went on a journey, right? He got a trainer to become a hero. He basically joined Planet Fitness or Lifetime. He joined the gym because he wanted to be a hero, because he wanted to belong. So he wanted to belong and he joined the gym. He was training, he became great, super well known. And then he was like, wait, I still don't feel like I belong. I'm still not a hero. Like, I'm still not a god. Like, I've done all these things. I'm still not a god. And then the internal surprise of you have to learn to lay your life down for the people that you love. Self-sacrifice. Let it go. And he does that for love. And that's how he becomes a true hero, becomes a god, and he finally belongs. So the external journey he went on was this journey to belong. That's it. He wanted to belong. He wanted to be a hero. He wanted to belong. He joined the gym. He said, if I become the most fit, incredible, hot guy in the world, I'm going to belong. He did that. He still didn't belong. And then he discovered that the internal transformation that he needed was to lay his life down. Sacrifice, personal sacrifice for love. So that's the big story the movie is telling. Becoming a hero to belong, it's a theme of belonging and becoming a hero and having that internal transformation that's going to require you to leave something behind emotionally. It's going to be tough. So if you think about entrepreneurship, sure, entrepreneurship is the external. For example, you are creating a product, an offer, social media, learning all these things. But in the end, you learn that if you don't build your belief, it's not going to happen for you. If you don't build your mindset, your strength, none of the things you did, none of the strategy is going to work. So you are left at the end of the story with, you have to know the strategy, but you need to do the mindset. And the mindset is going to cost you. The mindset is going to require that you take risks. So how does that apply to our brands? We have something external that we do that is the vehicle for usually an internal transformation. I had an interview with a wonderful SEO expert, and we talked about all the strategy, all the AI, like all the tips for SEO. And at the end, he said, it's about connecting. It's about caring. It's about building relationships. So sure, you take SEO as a way to grow your brand, rank, make more money, of course, but in the end, you are connecting. You are building connections. That's the internal shift that's happening. So start looking at your story, identify maybe your points, things that you learn, external things. And then what was the shift? What was the internal transformation that had to happen for you to get to that point? Put it in a circle. I love a circle. Everything I do is a circle, always. You have the external thing you thought you needed, the internal that you built, and that is the foundation of your story. That foundation holds everything you do in the future because the story, the journey is the same. For me, I was so afraid of using my voice for such a long time. Yes, I had podcasts and I had a business and I was helping people, but I was still comparing myself to others. I was thinking, I don't know if I have what it takes. My ideas are maybe so weird. They don't work the same they do for everyone. I don't feel like I belong in this place. So I decided to grow my personal brand, launch my podcast. And what I realized really through all of this journey, all of the work I did was everything starts with deciding that I am a leader with purpose, and I am convinced that you have purpose. I am convinced that you have the capacity to lead others. I am convinced that you don't need a corner office to do that. But leadership requires a little bit of sacrifice, requires being uncomfortable, requires being okay with not having external confirmation all the time. And I'm still working through it. But what I wanted, to be seen, to be noticed, to be sought after, didn't come. Sure, I did the strategy. My podcast ranked. I launched the program. I built the relationship. But I had internally to start seeing myself as a leader. Not perfect, not as God. I'm not the one with all the answers of the world, but I am taking ownership of where I am right now in my journey has been planned or developed to help others get to where they have to be in their journeys. And that has changed everything for me. And that will change everything to you. From that foundation, you can create your signature offer, your podcast, your book. It is all part of the journey. Those are the little pieces, the little coins that add to this foundation. But if you are feeling like something is not clicking, the thing that used to work is not working anymore, I'm not getting it. My question to you is, have you taken the time to work on your foundation? What is your foundation? What is your story? And how amazing it is to create that story for you. Not because it's part of a strategy, not because that will come later, but write your story. What are those external points, the things that you are really an expert undeniably at? And how is that all fueled for an internal transformation? Then that foundation is your artist foundation. And then you have, again, these collections that go into the world, they serve a purpose and they last for years or they last for a season. It doesn't matter. It is a collection, but everything is connected because everything rests under a very solid, purposeful, real, authentic foundation. So I want to leave you with that this week. This is an episode for you to think and consider, and I hope it shifts your mind on things. I do believe in you. I do believe in your purpose. And I am excited to see you turning on the light of your stage and lighting up the stages of others. Reach out to me on Instagram if you have any questions, any comments. Send me an email. contact@eugeniawu.com. I would love to chat. I would love to support you. And I'm excited for what's next. See you soon. I hope you loved this episode. If you connected with the podcast in some way, please rate it and review it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That is the #1 way you can support the show. And because sharing is caring, share it with a fellow entrepreneur wanting to become a leader, not just a creator. I am so grateful for you. I'd love to hear from you. Shoot me a DM over to @eugenia.woo. That's @EUGENIA.WOO. And if you only send me a microphone emoji, I will know that you stayed till the end. Thank you for listening. See you soon.